Hello students, how are you all? Welcome back. Today we will continue about Mesopotamia. If you realize and remember, it was the first civilization, the first city settlement, and that is what we were studying about. We read about its geography, and now we will learn about the development of writing. Your homework was finding out about any myth about floods in your society and noting down the life before the flood and after the flood. Now, I hope you have done that and written it down in your homework, in your notebooks. Now, we will begin with, or we will continue where we left.
This was the last topic we saw. We saw how the movement of goods happened in the city. So, however rich food resources Mesopotamia had, okay, the minerals were very less. The minerals resources were very few. Most parts of the south lacked stone for tools and seals and jewels. The wood of the Iraqi date palm and poplar was not good enough for making carts or cartwheels or both. And there was no metal for tools or vessels or ornaments. So we can easily summarize that the ancient Mesopotamians could have traded their abundant textile and agricultural produce for wood, copper, tin, silver, gold, shell, and various stones that they required from Turkey and Iran, or maybe across the Gulf. These latter regions, that is Turkey, Iran, and Gulf, they were rich in mineral resources, but they had much less scope for agriculture. So regular exchanges were possible only when there was a social gathering. Okay, so to equip for foreign expeditions and direct exchanges, these were initiated by people of the southern Mesopotamia. Okay, so besides craft, trade, and services, efficient transport also became very, very important for urban development. If it takes too much time or too much animal feed to carry grain or charcoal into cities on pack animals or bullock carts, the city economy will not be viable. The cheapest mode of transportation is anytime over water. Riverboats or barges are loaded with sacks of grain and they are propelled by the current of the river or wind. But when animal transport are used, these animals they need to be fed regularly. Whereas on the other hand, the canals and the natural channels of ancient Mesopotamia were in fact good routes of good transport between large and small settlements. And in the account on the city of Mari that we learn later on a little further in the chapter, the importance of Euphrates as a world route will become more clear. Okay, so you all know that the minerals were very less in Mesopotamia, and that's why they required to make exchanges. They needed stuff like wood, copper, tin, gold, shell, stones from Turkey. And what did they have a lot? They had lots of textile and food. So they exchanged these textile and food in exchange for wood, copper, tin, silver, gold, etc. Okay, so now because of this exchange, this was only possible when there was a large social gathering. So if there was no social gathering and they still wanted to make an exchange, they would have to travel. There were two forms of travel. One was through road and the other was through sea. The sea was cheaper, okay, because if they put the fuel and then there was wind and the tide that would push the boat, so automatically the travel become cheaper. But if they traveled on road, they would have to generally take a animal like a bullock cart or a horse cart, and all this meant feeding the animal again and again, and so it became more expensive. So when we learn about the city of Mary, you will realize how Euphrates was very important and became a very important place, to became a very important world route. Okay, so this is the Mesopotamian city. Just look how well planned it is. If this interests you anywhere, you should go and see a few videos on Mesopotamia. They really will hit you on. Okay. Now, talking about the cities in Mesopotamian cultures, Mesopotamians valued their city life a lot. After the cities were destroyed in the war, they still remember those cities, in their poetries. The pride of Mesopotamia about their town shown in the epic of Gilgamesh. So y'all can, let me show y'all a glimpse of this, but y'all can go and see the rest. Okay, so basically this epic of Gilgamesh, it's a poem, and how do we know about it? You will see right now. And this poem speaks about the cities of Mesopotamia, especially after they were destroyed in the war. If you all really want to listen to the poem, you can go to YouTube. There are many, many versions, and you all can select the one that interests you the most. We spoke about clay tablets, and this is exactly how they kept record of the trade or transactions that took place. So just like this, they would have a wet clay that they could fit in their hand, and they would take and they would make markings in this, and then when this clay would dry up, it would become permanent. So there was no changes that could happen. Cuneiform is the form of writing, the writing that they did, the ancient script. The name of that is cuneiform. We have even studied about this. The oldest writing in the system. Cuneiform is the oldest writing system in the world. You should remember all this for the multiple choice questions. So this epic or this book is about the king of Uruk and his companion Enkidu. The duo embarked on a series of glory quests, slaying the forest guardian Humbaba and challenging the goddess Ishtar. But the gods grow angry with their escapades. Means with all their things that they were doing, the gods became angry and they condemned Enkidu to death. The loss of his dear friend prompts Gilgamesh to seek advice from the immortal Utpa Utnapishtim, the one who never dies, immortal. And what does Utnapishtim tell Gilgamesh? He tells Gilgamesh the story of the great flood. Here, the flood again, the great flood that reveals to him the secret source of everlasting life. The epic is a rich, this epic, this poem, it's a rich literary text that explores themes of honor, glory, and human mortality. Why is the discovery important to us? Because it has given us a window into one of humans' oldest civilizations. So we knew how people came together, started living with each other, started getting dependent on each other, how trade was developed, how writing system came up. All this because we have stumbled across Mesopotamia. We know that this existed long before us. So this epic, this entire poem has been translated into English in the 1870s, and it is now even available in many other languages. So I would really request if you all can go and have a look at it. It would be really nice addition to your chapter. Yeah, so after seeing this video, we've seen the evidence that says that Mesopotamians valued their city life. Even after the cities were destroyed in wars, they recalled the city in their poetries. And the pride of the Mesopotamian, the pride of Mesopotamian, that is about their towns, are shown in this epic of Gilgamesh. So I want you all to go and have a look at the epic of Gilgamesh. So moving on, now we are going to further understand the development of writing. Now, most of the societies, all communities, they have a language that they speak. And all these language have different spoken sounds. These different spoken sounds, they convey some meaning. And this meaning is verbal communication between two people or a group of people. Writing is also a form of verbal communication, but it is in a different way. When we talk about writing, okay, we talk about a script. We mean that the spoken sounds are represented in visible signs. So what did Mesopotamians do is they had tablets made out of clay. Okay, so the first Mesopotamian tablet that we have found, the oldest, we have concluded that it was written around 3200 BCE. And on that tablet, there are picture-like signs and numbers. Okay. So the first Mesopotamian tablet was written around 3200 BCE, and they contain picture-like signs and numbers. We have found about 5,000 tablets. Okay, and when you look at those tablets, look at these pictures here on the right hand side. Ox, there is grain, fish, there's numbers and boats. So all these things, they kind of give us a sign that most of the tablets contained this kind of a list. Okay, list of goods that were bought. We are assuming that these list of that we know for sure that the tablets contain a list of goods, but we are assuming that these goods were either brought into the city or they were distributed from the city. They were distributed from the temples of Uruk, which is a city in the south. So this is a very clear indication that writing began when the society needed to keep records of transactions. In city life, in our daily life, numerous transactions occur, and these occur at different times at different places. So we need to keep a track of it. Even we have a writing system and we keep a track of what we have purchased and what we have sold. Similarly, they required a system, and so they invented so they developed a writing system. Okay. So the main cause that we are assuming for writing to have developed is to keep records of transactions, because in that time they were living in a city, and in city life, transactions occur at different times, and they also involve lots of people and a variety of goods. So the first cuneiform is the oldest writing that we know about. The cuneiform is derived from the Latin word cunis, which means wedge, and forma, which means shape. Basically, it is wedge-shaped letters. Now, cuneiform did not, in cuneiform, every sign that we see or symbol that we see, it does not represent a single consonant or vowel. Like in English language, the M is M, or A is A, B is B. So in English language, every sign represents a single consonant. But in cuneiform, cuneiform is a syllabic sign. Cuneiforms are syllabic signs. That means each sign represents a combination of syllables. That means, let's say one sign represents put, or one sign represents la, or one sign represents in. Okay. So the Mesopotamians, the ones who learned the language, they had to learn thousands and hundreds of symbols. Okay. And what they had to do was, so Mesopotamians, we've seen they wrote on a tablet of clay. So a scribe is a person who knew the language. The scribe would wet the clay and he would pat it into a size he could hold comfortably in one hand. And then he would carefully smoothen its surface, and with a sharp end of a reed, he would cut obliquely. Obliquely is slant. Okay. With a sharp end of a reed cut obliquely, okay, he would press the wedge-shaped signs on the smoothened surface of the tablet while the tablet was still moist. Then the tablet was kept to get dried in the sun. The clay would harden and tablets would become indestructible. And so the written record would be preserved forever. Yes. Now, most of the times, this clay tablet was written on both sides. Okay. So you can see some triangles and lines across the tablet on top. If you look at a tablet, you will see some triangles and cross lines on the top. Okay, and you will also see that the letters have been pressed into the clay. So when a written record is made, let's say of the police delivery of pieces of metal or delivery of food, and now it is not relevant, it has ceased to be relevant, it is not required anymore, then that tablet was thrown away. Because once the surface was dried, signs could not be pressed into the tablet. So once the transaction was done, they did not, and once it was not required anymore, they would throw the tablet away. this is why we have found so many tablets. We have found 5,000 up tablets at the Mesopotamian site. And it is because of this wealth of sources, it is because of so many tablets that we have found, that we know so much more about Mesopotamia than we know about India. By 2600 or so, the letters became cuneiform, and the language spoken at that time was Sumerian. Now, there was a development in writing in 2600. Writing was no longer used to only keep records. It was also made to use dictionaries. It was also used to give legal validity to land transfers that happened. It was also used to narrate or tell the deeds of the kings and to announce the changes that a king has made in some law of the land. So Sumerian is the earliest known language of Mesopotamia, and this was gradually replaced after 2400 BCE by the Akkadian language. But the cuneiform writing system has continued even in the Akkadian language, okay? And it was in use until the 1st century CE, Common Era. 1st century of Common Era, it was still in use. So that means cuneiform language was used, cuneiform writing system was used for more than 2000 years. So the greatest contribution of Mesopotamia to the Western civilization was the invention of writing. And this writing, they allowed transmission of records, knowledge, because now you can transform the knowledge from one person to another in form of writing. It helped in codifying the laws, setting common laws for everyone. It also allowed to keep records of trade and farming. How did they write? Sumerians wrote on a wet clay tablet with the point of a reed and then dried those tablets in the sun to make it hard and permanent. Now, scribes were the only people who could read, and so they could read and write. So their most important employment or the most important work was they were served as priests, they served as record keepers, and they served as accountants. As and when society evolved, the form of writing was developed, and this form was called cuneiform, meaning wedge-shaped letters, and these date back to 3500 BCE. Cuneiform spread to Persia and Egypt and became the vehicle for growth and spread of civilization and exchange of ideas among the culture. Yes? Development of cuneiform. So how has cuneiform developed? This is a picture that shows us. If you look at the first line and the second line, you will only see a rotated position. So from 3000 BC to 2800, just the position got rotated. But as you can see in the last line, that is 600 BC, you can literally see wedge-shaped letters there. That means now cuneiform had taken a more permanent shape. These are some cuneiform tablets. You can see they have different shapes. So whatever shape the scribe was comfortable in handling in his hand, that shape was taken. So basically, if you remember, I told you that each alphabet, or sorry, each sign in cuneiform does not represent a single syllable, but a combination of syllables. That means the scribes had to learn hundreds of signs. And then he had If you look at the skill level he had to handle a wet clay tablet, and he had to write on it before it dried up. Okay, so writing at that time was considered as a skilled craft. Okay, it was an enormous intellectual achievement that is conveyed in the visual form, the system of sounds of a particular language. It was something that only intellectuals could do because it was not in the spoken form, it was in the written form. Okay, so we've seen this. We saw writing began 3200 BCE, and we saw that it began when the society needed to keep records of transactions. We saw that they write on tablets of clay, and he described would impress wedge-shaped signs on the wet clay with sharp end of reed. Okay, this is evolution of the pictographic symbols. So if you look at the first one over here, okay, first one over here, and you look at the last one over here, you can see a major difference. But if you look at the ones that is close by, so if you look at these two, and you look only at these two, you will not see a major change. The major change happened here. Yes? So the major change happened 2500 BC to 700 BC. That's when cuneiform actually developed and took a permanent shape or a form. Okay, so once the scribe would write on the tablets dried in the sun and they became indestructible. Once it was dried, signs could not be pressed, and so each transaction required a separate tablet. And so we find so many tablets, and we also saw that cuneiform wrote the language of Sumerian, and later I will end today's class. I want you all to do two homework. That is, how was the development of writing that took place? I want you all to write it in the point form. And the second is the reasons or the cause for the development of writing, or why was cuneiform made. Reason. Okay, I want you to list out all the reasons why did they need a written language. Okay, and I want you all to write down the development of writing. And yeah, one more question: what was cuneiform and everything you know about cuneiform? So 3 different topics we have done. We saw development of writing, we saw why was writing developed, and we've also seen what is cuneiform. So make 3 different notes for today. All right. With this, I end today's class. Stay home, stay safe, and please let me know if you do not understand something.